Hello and welcome to my video lesson 4.6 on investing and borrowing. So this topic is very similar to the last two, so make sure you've seen 4.4 and 4.5 on simple and compound interest respectively, because we go into depth about these formulas here. So that first one is simple interest, and the second one is compounded interest. So those are important to know about, so make sure you've watched those if you haven't watched them yet. So we need to know that P is the principal, that's the amount that we borrow. R is the rate at which we're borrowing. T is the time. So in the compound one, it's always years. In the interest one, it's however many simple periods of interest there are, which is usually years, but could be something else. And then N for the compound down here is telling you how many compounded times per year there are, how many interest periods per year. All right, so we have these different things, but we have to recognize that they get you different values, different meanings, as well as different values. So the first one is simple interest, and so this formula here only gets me the interest, not the final value, just the interest. So you'd have to add the principal back in, just like that. Whereas over here, our second one shows us our final value. This is interest plus principal. It does both. So keep that in mind as we move forward here. So Sally wants to start saving for university. So she starts an RESP at the bank, which has two options for interest rates. Either she can choose to go with a simple yearly interest rate at 8%, or a compounded quarterly interest at 7%. She's starting this account in grade 10 and has 5 years to save before she plans on taking university. If she has $4,000, how much will she have with each style, with each type of account? All right, so if she has 5 years to save, she puts in $4,000 now. How much will she have with each style? Which is the better account for her? Well, we're going to take a big assumption and say that she's not putting money in later on, which is probably bad, okay? But if she is putting money in later on, it's going to change the answer. So we're going to, or it could change the answer. So we're going to go with the more simple. You put in money at the beginning and that's it. So just by looking at the percents, it's making you start to think 8% is higher than 7%. Let's go with that. But hold on a second. She has 5 years to save and it's compounded. So let's see which is actually better. So in the final value, the compounded interest option, she starts off with $4,000 and she multiplies by this whole thing, which is at 7%. And it's compounded how often? Quarterly, so it's 4 times a year. So 4 times by how many years? 5 years. And that will get us to our answer of, I just typed in my calculator, 5,659.11. All right, and the regular interest would get us this formula, which is PRT, or 4,000 times by 0.08, because it's a higher interest rate, times by how many years? 5 years. Oops, let's make that nicer. Okay, and so let's see what that gets us. 4,000 times by 0.8 times by 5, and it gets us 16. Well, obviously that's better, or that's worse, sorry. But hold on, let's just make sure we add this is just the interest, so make sure we add the $4,000 back. And now we have 5,600. Okay, now we can compare our two situations. This is compounded and this one is simple interest. Well, which one is better? If it's just this exact situation without her putting more money in later, which one is better? Well, our 7% interest rate is better because it's compounded. So this is the difference between compounded versus simple interest. It can be a huge difference. It's also important to recognize that we had to add this principal back in, which we didn't have to do with our other formula. So keep that in mind. So which account is better for her? Well, the compounded 7% is better for her. I hope that this video helps you understand simple and compound interest a little bit better when it comes to investing and borrowing. Good luck.